good evening, and welcome once again to The Caring View. For those of you who don't know, we've just been sat here chatting to each other for 10 minutes thinking we were live on our show, and I forgot to press live. As Mark's just said, we've only been doing this 2 years. You know, how can you forget to do that? This is The Caring View. Don't forget to subscribe, like us on our social medias, find us on YouTube, you know the drill. All of these we express tonight are of our own, and yada, yada, yada. Just to cut through some spiel, Mark and I are really happy with everyone supporting us this year. I'm not going to go through the full 10 minutes that we've just been through. This is utterly embarrassing, and I don't want to hide the faux pas either. Chin, chin. So good evening, everyone. This is just going to be a show celebrating 2022, going back on some of the things that we've all found amazing, some of the things that we found not so amazing, and some of the things we're really looking forward to in 2023. Mark, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Oh, I'm fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
And how is everyone else? You're all on mute now.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Again.
I just want to say a huge thank you to all coming up dressed Christmassy. Paul with his tree, because it is a tree behind Paul. It's not like a camo tree. It is an actual Christmas tree. I don't have anything, I'm afraid, because I am in the middle of moving, but I've got little Christmas trees next to me, so I'll just hold one of these every now and then. It is a Christmas tree, I promise you, for those who are a little bit sus on TikTok. So, good evening, everyone. We are going to fly through this intro bit. We have got people who need to drop off early, and we were halfway through introducing Sophie, who is new to our show, before we actually realized that I hadn't clicked going live. In fact, it reminds me, just before we get started, of a podcast we filmed earlier on this year, which was an incredible opportunity for us. It was from a podcast in America called All Home Care Matters. Shout out to Lance. We had a fantastic hours recording. Mark and I, honestly, knocking it out of the park. We were awesome. We were cool, answering all the questions the best we could. And I was like, oh, it was great, that podcast. Thanks, Lance. He was like, oh, do you want to know something funny? And I was like, what? Didn't press record. Oh, fantastic. I had to re-record the entire thing. Thought to myself, I've never done that. Never done that. Never done anything as daft. And then obviously not gone live tonight. Sophie, good evening. How are you?
Hello. Do you know what? Actually, the intro that you did, which no one will ever see, was really good. I was really impressed. I was like, these people just know what they're doing on the socials. Anyway, it's going to be amazing. And oh my God, look at us and all our Christmas stuff. And someone said, sneaky Amanda. I've seen she's put that hat on and she's outdone all of us with that now. Come on. But yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, this is my first time on the show, and I've watched it and I've enjoyed it, and it's amazing what you guys are doing. So when I got an opportunity to come on, I was like, yay, definitely. And especially because it's Christmas, it just feels like need to be festive and upbeat and just get together. So thank you.
Amazing. So because you are new, Sophie, just tell everyone who's watching where you're from, what you do, because you've got your hands and fingers in so many pies and you do so much incredible stuff that I think it would be a shame not to tell everyone what you do.
Yeah, so basically one of the main things that I've been doing the last couple of years is setting up Co-Produced Care, KIC, which is a non-profit organization, and we do a bit of live streaming. We help people to respond to government consultations. We talk about social care to just generally raise awareness. So that's a lot of what we do, and a few other projects with like the Health Foundation, Health Education England we've done to help people get support. And then also on my other hat is being a provider in the Southwest of services that support people with learning disabilities, mental disabilities, and older people as well. And just because I didn't have much more to do, I thought I'd do a PhD part-time as well. So that's on mental health and post-colonial theory. So yeah, doing a little bit of a lot of things.
Honestly, always inspired by what you're doing, and always I get exhausted just listening to you telling me what you do, and I'm like, oh, how do you... And a mother to beautiful children as well. It's just I don't it's incredible, Sophie. Absolutely incredible. An inspiration to so many in social care. And yeah, I hope you don't mind me saying this is why when we talk about women in leadership and women in social care, just look to what you can achieve. It is absolutely
Oh,
honoured for you to be on the show.
Thank you. Although I must say, every time I talk about what I do and then I listen to or hear the women, men and women that I work with, I just feel like in social care, we're all caning it on so many different levels. Like, I'm so proud to work in this sector. Seriously, the people I come across, I'm just like, we are amazing. We need to get more of us in politics, then there will be a better place.
Honestly, we do need more in politics, because the last lot that we've had running the bloody show, I mean, let's just go back to these guys. You know, they're all blooming useless. All of them, especially this one, who should be in prison. Honestly, they're all useless. We need more of us in social care. So, Sophie, 2022, how's it been?
It's been a bit of a random one, really. It's kind of like living with COVID, isn't it? But also seeing some amazing things. So I was thinking about some of the things I was really inspired by. And one of the things is the Oliver McGowan training. It's a bit like, okay, this we're going to training, it's a bit boring. But actually, I followed his mum campaigning for better awareness of people with learning disabilities, autism, for so many years. And then somehow it's just now we're all having to do it. And I just thought that's such a good example of how if you keep on campaigning about something you really believe in, you can really make a difference. And that training is going to raise awareness with so many people and probably save lives. I just think that that's something I think is one of the most amazing things of this year to actually see come through, like politics, policy, everything, and it's going to be really positive. So yeah, that's probably one of my highlights generally within the sector.
And I mean, Oliver's campaign is it's one of those where it's such a great campaign, but it's such a shame that it's needed. You know, the story behind it is heartbreaking, and the trauma behind it is just, you know, it's awful. But turning that that trauma and that upset into something spectacular that can change so many lives and touch so many people, I agree with you. It's fantastic. So what's not been so great this year?
It's your man, Matt. Him just, no, do you know what? It really annoys me because a lot of my friends are like, oh, but you know, it just shows that he's so human. He's just like anyone else. He makes mistakes. And I'm like, no, he's evil. Lock him up. That's really annoying. I did refrain from watching it, although I really wanted to. I wanted to see him eat like gross stuff. But I did refrain from watching it. But that was really annoying because he was just everywhere. And I just didn't want to hear about him. And I hated the fact he was trying to make himself a superstar out of the pain and suffering that the sector has gone through with no shame whatsoever. It's just like gutter politics. So that's probably one of the just most annoying. There's a lot of annoying things, but that one just, yeah, I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
He's not human, he's a rat. And I've seen enough of Matt Hancock eating after that video got leaked from Westminster. That's all of the eating I want to see Matt Hancock do. I was done after that. I swear, I cannot stand the man. 2023 then, what's coming up for Sophie in 2023?
Oh, to be honest with you, I'm probably going to focus on quality within our own services because I feel like with everything that's gone on and the staffing crisis and just getting things the way we wanted them to be, it hasn't been to the standard that I want just because everything's been so difficult. So I really want to focus on bringing the team together and seeing how we can do things to a higher quality and differently, and focus on like the I statements from TLAP, we statements, and embedding that because we know that they're really good practice, but we haven't really embedded it within our services. So I really want to think about how we do that a little bit more. And one of the things I'm really interested in is finding out our relationship with unions. I'm really inspired. I'm not saying that everyone in the care sector should strike, but I'm really inspired by the way that they've been able to just like get support for what they do and raise awareness. And I just want to see how the care sector providers should work with unions to see if some of that good promotion for our sector can come through that way. So yeah, those are the couple of things that I'll be looking at this next year.
Oh, I will look into those unions with you, because I was hoping John Lewis would release like a Mick Lynch Christmas ornament this year, because I just wanted to have them all over my house. I think he is the Santa Claus of unions. But just throwing this out there for social care, we might not be able to put our aprons up and take our gloves off, but we could stop paying the regulator. We could all just not pay the regulator for the year, and that could be our strike, because someone would have to listen to us then. If everyone just stopped paying, someone would have to listen to us. There are ways we can go around striking without actually putting people at risk and harm. So I think it's definitely something we should think about, something creative for the new year. And Sophie, just last thing. So words of joy for anyone listening, anyone who's maybe in social care or living with social care. What are your Christmas words of joy to them?
Just know that you are doing the most incredible job. So basically, we had somebody who we used to look after, and we got a letter from one of their family members, and they're someone who's supporting their own home. And it said the letter something like, thank you, your girls are really great. They come out whenever we need them. You are like the fourth emergency service. Whenever I need you, when we can't get a hold of the ambulance or anyone else, your girls are just there. One call, we can go to work and live our lives and know that you're there for her. And I just thought that could be said about anyone who works in social care. We really are the fourth emergency service. And no matter what anybody says and what you're going through, you are really valued and we really care about you. So yeah, that's what I definitely take away.
A great takeaway. I definitely agree. We are definitely the fourth emergency services. Thank you very much. Right, who should we come to? I was just trying to work out in my head very quickly whether we can go male, female, male, female, male, female, but we'll see how it goes. Paul, I'll come to you. Good evening.
Evening.
For anybody who doesn't know you, Paul, do you want to do some introductions? I'm sure most people follow
Who
Paul.
doesn't know me?
Are you in Spain, Paul? Or are you back in England?
No, I'm not in Spain, Adam.
No, he's got clothes on. What are you on about?
Which country are you in right now? So my name's Paul Blaine. I am the Managing Director of SDL Care, which is residential care homes for the elderly. I am also the Managing Director of CBAT, so Carer Business Associate Training. So we're a national educational company across the UK. And I'm one of the co-founders and moderators on the Health and Social Care Club as well. So that's me. And the person that argues on Twitter a lot.
Yeah, you can find Paul on Twitter. He's very active on there. What have your highlights been then this year, Paul?
Do you know, so from a personal perspective, last year I sat there, I remember, I think it was Boxing Day night. I sat there and decided I needed to do something this year from a personal perspective, lots of goals and ambitions in there. So set myself a massive target each month to achieve over the course of December. A lot of it was fitness related, jumping out of planes, getting the businesses to win awards, getting certain people in the business to progress. And that sort of like plan sat there on a board for me in my bedroom, and I've managed to tick everything off from running half marathons, and everything like that. And one of the biggest ones for me was climbing 3 mountains in 24 hours and helping to raise £17,000 for charity in the process. So I sort of like look at it from that perspective and go, it's been really, it's been fantastic to have achieved that. And it's certainly motivated me into next year. From a business perspective, I've watched so many people who've come into the service really concentrated on career pathways with individuals, finding those special people, and to see what they've achieved in the year and how that's grown the businesses is truly unbelievable. So I sort of like take a lot of heart in seeing how other people have put themselves forward. And Leanne, who went into management last year, she didn't win one of the WAG awards, but she was there in London for the big special night as a newcomer to care. And just to see her, from a small village in the northwest, up alongside what we class as the giants of social care, it was just an absolute privilege. And then her training business won Northern Enterprise Education Company of the Year. So 5 years in, from starting it off to win these accolades and see that grow, it's gone really fast. It's been absolutely amazing. So from a personal perspective, reaching those goals, from a business perspective, seeing what people have achieved.
Yes, and congratulations again on the awards. And close your your ears, Adam. You can close your eyes as well. But also, the Health and Social Care Club also picked up an award for best communication. So, yeah, you're scooping them all this year, Paul. 2023. Oh, actually, what's not been so good of 2022 before we come on to 2023?
Yeah, I think when you're doing reflection, it's important to actually, I hear a lot of people say always talk positive, and I agree with that. Negative thoughts will lead to toxicity. However, no human being has a year where there is not setbacks or there's not something that comes as a crushing fall. And one of the things that I wanted to do this year was take our office team to Dublin to celebrate our 5-year anniversary and basically let them go wild around Dublin. When I seen the first bar bill, that kind of sort of like very quickly went, we're going to Wetherspoons. But yeah, so we celebrated 5 years. It was a big moment for us, but unfortunately, one of my Charlie's Angels, as I called them, so Dr. Mandy Bennett, who headed up leadership and management side of the business, somebody who I'd been with a long time, actually sadly passed away from a battle with cancer on the day of her 5th. She was supposed to come with us, but didn't want to do the flight. So, there's moments in time where you're looking at people and you're going, you were such an inspiration in my life. You were such a big part of what we were out to achieve or what we were achieving. And to lose you on that day was very sad. The only positive thing I took from it was we were away from the office. I had the entire team around me. It was in a beautiful set of gardens. To actually take the team down that morning and explain what had happened and is to be there together was brilliant. And then, as everybody, when you're somebody that's sort of like a little bit of a workaholic, and you're so committed to what you do, it's important that actually you concentrate as well on the family side of life. And sometimes I've neglected that this year. So there's been a lot of recounting back as to how I improve that situation next year and get that work-life balance. It's great I'd never see work as something that as work, because I love what I do. But at the same point, I need to respect the fact that there is a family there that supported me all the way, and I need to spend some time supporting them as well. So they're the bits that I would say have been harder.
Absolutely.
And Matt Hancock, I'll go with you on that one.
So, as we enter 2023 in a couple of weeks' time, what are you looking forward to? What's going to happen to you, work?
I think we just need to all be together, united. I think there is a definite. I think there's got to be a realism to things. Social care is going to be the hardest year ever for social care. And now people may turn around to me and say that can't be true. We've got through COVID. Yes, we did that, and we did that united. But the difference is the financial impact this time. There is a serious cost of living crisis. There is no doubt about it. I've always said, how can a care home actually get itself through, or a care setting get itself through COVID, protect people, save lives, work hard, protect the country, people's loved ones, and yet most of these services are going to get taken out by rising energy costs or rising insurance costs, things that actually they have no control over. That could be detrimental. So I think it's a case of yes, staying positive, trying to find areas. Somebody said to me, you'll need to become more efficient when you're spending. I say, you can only scrape the barrel so many times. This needs government intervention. This needs help and assistance. So I think it's going to be about campaigning and challenging and making awareness to this and getting the big bodies out there, the big associations who have kind of, been a little bit dormant. They're there with support in newsletters and things like that. But now we really need them to throw the punches at government as a collective to help all providers out. So I think personally, a bit like when we went into the COVID pandemic, it was important to get across to the staff that we're in this together. It's the same with this going into social care. We have another testing year ahead. It's a bit different, but we will bloody well do it because we always bloody well do.
That we do. And I think you're completely right. I think the collaboration, and I do think the cost of living and inflation, we're going to see some care homes and services that just won't survive. And I think that's just going to add extra pressure and that voice to government, unfortunately. But Christmas words for social care. Do you have any, Paul?
I do. I sort of like keep repeating the same message. I've been involved in social care, starting off as a carer way back in the old days. I'm now very old. I figured that out this year. I'm getting old. But all I would say is that same message. There is many loved ones out there who this year will sit down to the Christmas dinner, and there's many people out there who are looking after your loved ones, working through that period of time. So all I would say is the best word that a carer can hear from family members is thank you. I know you probably say it a lot, but please, please, please say thank you to our carers as many times as you can over this festive period, because this is actually a nice time for carers. It's also a hard time. They're separated from their families, they're working long hours, sacrificing so much to look after the people that you love. So that deserves a big thank you. So from me to every carer across the country, across the world, thank you.
I feel like I need one of them buttons that goes, oh, after that. No, it's so true. Recognition is so important. And I mean, we've all been in awe of what you've done this year, Paul. You put us all to shame fitness-wise, I can tell you that. And I won't be thinking that on Boxing Day, thinking, oh, I wonder whether I can climb 3 mountains in 3 days. Not a cat and else chance.
One day.
Sorry, yes, one day. Even, nutter. I think it's incredible. And you raise so much for charity. It's fantastic. I'm going to come to Jack. Hello, Jack. Good evening.
Hello, hello.
How are you, my love?
Well, I'm just Jack. Absolutely normal.
Just Jack. Isn't that like Will and Grace or something? Just Jack.
Yeah. Just Jack. Well, I'm all right. I'm fab as usual. I just, there's no barriers, just hurdles. Under, over, around. That's the way I go. So, yeah, this year has been incredible for me. Because I made the leap of faith in January to come back to work after my stroke and my rehabilitation and recuperation over the last few years. And I'm finding that I can work around my disability at the minute. So I might be stuck in a chair, but I've learned that the chair is my object. I can either sit in this chair or I can be in my power chair, and I can still get to everywhere I need to be. And one thing I've loved about this year is that the whole hybrid way of working and working from home, I don't feel odd. I'm stuck here and I have to do my job here and live here with these people. And I kind of take everybody with me into my home, and it's lovely. So that's worked well for me. Getting over my own challenges and barriers to become a social care consultant, something I've been doing in the background for a few years with the local authorities. And now I've been working with people like ADAS and presenting at Spring Seminar and really kind of stepping out with co-production, working with the co-production collective and co-producing with them quite a lot. So yeah, this year's just been fantastic. It hasn't been without its challenges, but it has been fantastic for me just to feel a sense of normality and a bit like I've got the old Jack back. I'm not feeling too old at 45 either now. I'm feeling quite vibrant because I've got a part of me back that was missing.
And it's been an absolute pleasure to start working with you, Jack, this year. And we've done some great things together, and we're going to do more together. So, sounds like you're having a fab year. Nothing goes perfect all the time. So, what's not gone so good this year for you?
But I would like to say that working with yourselves, being a part of a working group and a steering group, and being on the Innovation and Impact Board has been my ultimate highlight this year. Looking at getting a care register off the ground, so that should be something that should come this year. Yeah. What hasn't gone well? Well, Steve Barclay, he needs to go. He really does need to get his shoes on and pop off. So I am really not going to ask what would Steve Barclay do unless there's going to be resign at the end of that. So my ultimate Christmas wish for the world is that revolving door number 10 keeps rolling and Steve Barclay goes out of it, because I just feel he's not in touch with all of us. He's not connecting, and that can be said of the way he's connecting with the NHS at the moment, and the need for strikes, and the need to look. We just need to get around a table and have a talk about this. And what we have done well is co-produce this year. COVID kind of sprung us all into that co-production kind of mode of working, and I just feel that it's become such a normality now throughout the social care sector that co-production isn't a thing that we're all aiming to do. We're physically doing it. And I just feel it would be quite interesting if Steve Barclay would sit down with, say, some of us and get us to kind of co-produce some strategies at the top of government, and that we're actually heard and listened to. Because I don't see that one. It might be good for a nice glossy visit to a hospital, but I don't think social care has come off better for those photo shoots and photo opportunities that he takes. I think social care has really, really suffered at the hands of somebody who's been out of touch. So anyway, I'm getting off my bandwagon. I'm not going to go off on one anymore, but Steve Barclay has been my lowest thing this year completely. He's let us down.
I'm not going to disagree with that. And I shared a TikTok, I think, earlier in the People Plan group of a woman challenging him outside a hospital, saying, what's going to happen? You've done nothing for the last 12 years. And it's like, but we are now. And it's like, really? You're still not listening. You're still not getting it. 2023, Jack, what's coming your way?
Well, I'm going to do some more work with University College London and CoPro, which is fantastic. I'm launching Hurdles Not Barriers, which is my own company, and alongside the consultancy, and that's going to be going in at social worker level to get them to change the way that they do assessments of people, Care Act assessments, and the way that they work with and liaise with care companies to make sure that that person-centred support is actually truly person-centred, but also that it's not kind of them coming in someone's house and making decisions, because that is still happening. I think we've got a fantastic social worker care kind of workforce. And as you know, I've been on the Social Work Awards as a judge this year, and I think they're all fab in there too. So I'm kind of going in at that level, doing some lived experience training and workshops, which will be absolutely fantastic. And we just need to keep all working together and make what changes we can. Other than that, I'm annoyed because Adam Purnell, we've been buying houses at the very same time, and you're getting to move a week before me. How's that happened?
I'm not actually getting in it a week before you, though, because I've got to rewire the bloody thing. So I've got electricians coming in for a full 5 days before I can actually get anywhere near it. So we'll probably move in the similar time. So festive words, Jack. Words of joy, words of wisdom for people. What would you say?
Well, I just want to use this opportunity to remind everybody to get onto the priority services register. Because if you are living at home with a disability or with care needs or need additional support, my words of wisdom this year are just solely for you. Please contact your energy provider and get onto the priority services register, because if we do start having power outages, what I would like to do is know that I'm helping people to get prepared, and they can help with emergency support when you needed that too as well. And speak to your energy providers, guys, and see whether you're eligible for a discount or any of their financial schemes as well that they've got. So my words of wisdom are, we're all in this together, whether we're in social care or not, whether we're delivering it or whether we're receiving it. And just reach out to somebody for help. Don't not talk.
I think that's great words of advice. And yeah, definitely check if you're eligible for benefits, because I think there's so many people out there that are eligible that just don't realise Derek, I'm going to come to you next. So if anybody doesn't know you, Derek, did you want to do a quick introduction?
Sure. Just never to be outdone when it comes to the Christmas spirit. And a little jingle, some lights. So my name's Derek. I'm an occupational therapist. And last year, set up a care agency called Sunday Care Therapy. And it's all about integration between health and social care. We do care, but have OT at the heart of it. So that's me. That's my background.
Thank you very much. So you've had a very busy year this year. What's been the highlight of your year or highlights?
Oh my God, everybody has such a busy year. This year has been insane. So from like a big perspective, the highlight for me is definitely around the Health and Social Care Integration Act that came out this year, because the whole concept of my company was to integrate health and social care. My background was predominantly with the NHS, training as health therapist, then moving into social care and seeing that massive divide between the two of them. And then the actual Health and Social Care Act came out, and it's not like a race. We're slowly starting to see changes, and part of that is the funding that's been released around this time, making sure that people who work in social care and the NHS are having the same quality and standard of training. So that was like a really big achievement that I saw, and it's going to have a massive impact going forward. And then another on a more personal level. One time so in our office, we have all the equipment. So if you go out and see somebody, you're not going in blind. So we have like beds and gantry hoists and all that kind of stuff. And we were doing a training session, and we purposely picked an office space that's wheelchair accessible, on the footpath, door open, middle of summer. And a lady in an Epiyoc, like an electric powered wheelchair, was driving by and saw what we were doing. And she just stops and goes, "What's going on here?" So we were explaining, like, we're a care agency. We're training our staff on how to work with this kind of equipment. And she was so impressed that she's become one of our service users. And she volunteers for training with us now. So that was like a massive big up for me this year on a positive note.
No, that definitely is a good positive. What's not been so good for you this year? Has there been anything? I mean, I do follow you on social media. It all seems to be going really well.
The really horrible thing that happened to me this year was, unfortunately, my aunt passed away. So she was the real inspiration behind starting the company, Sunday Care Therapy. And the reason why we called it that is before she moved in with me. So really quick background. I had an elderly aunt. She was in her 90s. She moved in with me because she had Alzheimer's, dementia, and social care, and the NHS were failing her. So she lived with me for 5 years nearly. And we did everything we could to like keep her as safe as possible, and her quality of life like dramatically improved. Before she moved in with me, Sunday was her favorite day of the week because that's when I'd go and visit her. So we named the company Sunday after that, and then Care because we're a care agency, and Therapy because we have therapy at the heart of all our interventions. And unfortunately, at the beginning of the year, she passed away. She contracted COVID. I mean, no matter how hard and how strict we were with PPE, hand washing, infection control, it still managed to get into the flat. And even though it was like the not as bad strain, the one that everybody was all like, "Oh, it's fine, you can just go on with your life," it still managed to take her down. It was very, very traumatic. It was like Christmas Day last year. She was slipping in and out of consciousness. We had to phone the ambulance to have her rushed into hospital. 3 paramedics came out and couldn't get her out of the bed. I had to like use the equipment to get her out of the bed myself. It was like a really horrible, traumatic start to the year. So I don't think anything else is going to top that when it comes to the low points.
Yeah, no, what a horrible way to start 2022. What are your plans? What are you excited for 2023?
2023. So 2022 was all about proof of concept, or minimal viable product, looking at having OT at the heart of care. Does it actually work? Does it make any difference? And we definitely have seen that it vastly improves care quality and people's quality of life. So 2023 is all going to be about expansion. We want it not to just be this small little project in the heart of London. We want it to like start to grow, start to bubble out. So 2023, fingers crossed, will just all be about expansion. You'll see us popping up outside of London, hopefully. That's the goal.
Looking forward to that. No, that'll be good. And a message for social care.
Sure. So we have a service user, and she was she was given a feedback form, and on the form she was saying, I couldn't decide if you were saints or angels, so I decided you were both. And that's not just for us. That's not just for that one carer who's going out to see her. That's across the board. If you're working in health and social care, it takes a special person to do that. You can't just pick somebody off the street to do it. You have to there's something in you. So all of us we're not just saints, we're not just angels, we're a combination of both.
Brilliant. And, just from both Mark and I, Derek, and I know we've said this before, but, our condolences for what you went through at the beginning of the year. But it's amazing what you've turned that into and the achievements that you're doing. And I can't wait to see this model moving forwards, because for me, it's the most innovative thing social care has seen in a long, long time. And I can't wait to see this take over the country, and it's real integration. I think it's wonderful. So thank you. And thank you for being a support. It's great to know you and be a part of your journey with you.
Snap.
I'm going. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, who did we just lose? I hope I wasn't going to come to them. Was it Lee? Lee will come back. I'm going to come to Lucy. Hello, Lucy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, lovely.
I love your tinsel accessories today.
To nick the baubles off the cat.
So, Lucy, for everyone who doesn't know you, and how do you not know Lucy, who are you, where are you from, what do you do?
Oh, that's a big question. So, Lucy Buxton, I work for myself, LJB Coach Consultancy. I'm a nurse. I'm also an NLP trainer, trainer of timeline resourcing, and a hypnotherapy trainer as well. And I work with fabulous people in social care and businesses to help them achieve their goals and, sort out their mindset and clear up their thinking and generally be fabulous.
Well, it's honestly love having you here, Lucy, and it's great to have you on for our Christmas show of the year. So, Lucy, what's gone well this year for you? What are your highlights?
I think the thing that really sticks out in my mind, highlight-wise, it was so lovely to get back to, face-to-face events, really being present with people, because I think the ones we had last year, they were just kind of like, some people were being a bit brave, but others were a bit. And I have to say, it was the events this year have been incredible, really, really lovely. You can see that there's lots of innovation, lots of new thinking, and just genuinely lovely. And I have to say, people that I'd made kind of these virtual friendships with and things like that. It's just been really lovely to meet again in person and really experience some special times with people. So that was a big highlight for me. I think one of the other big highlights for me is with the work that I do, then seeing people come to me or businesses come to me in a bit of a pickle, not in a very good way, people really struggling, or people who have come to me and have been, I don't want to be a registered manager anymore. I don't want to be part of the sector. And then when we part company, they're like, actually, I'm really glad and I'm staying. And one of the big things for me is somebody that I worked with early part of last year, the home that he manages, and he's often shouting about me, so people probably guess who I'm going to talk about. His home have been nominated for 12 awards this year, and they've won 8. So to see somebody who nearly 2 years ago was walking away from their job, they were walking away from everything, and their home is outstanding. They've got full occupancy, no agency, and they've won 8 awards this year. That, I think, is a biggie for me.
Absolutely incredible. So obviously everyone's going to be rushing to use Lucy's services in 2023 because they want to win all the awards. Now, I know who you're talking about, and we've had a number of well, I say a number of them. He's an activity coordinator on a number of times on the show. And they are absolutely fantastic at what they do. All of them, every single team member are brilliant at what they do. What's not gone so well, Lucy?
Couple of things. Couple of things on a personal world and a couple of things on a businessy world as well, which has been less easy. So we'll deal with the businessy ones first. I've had to take some really long, hard decisions about where I'm going, and I realised that I think probably like some people, I've probably had a bit of caring burnout. You know, people know me that I cared for my daughter for quite a while. I'd nursed my mum, and then balanced with that, I decided to sponsor somebody this year from Ukraine, and that didn't turn out very well at all. Unfortunately, they came with a lot of trauma and had some coping, had some behaviours, you know, parts of their world that things that they used, alcohol and other things, which they were not easy for me to deal with. And I think trying to reach this person and not being able to reach them and not being able to help them, and feeling quite responsible, I think, because I'd taken them from this place where they were, you know, living in a refugee centre, and it was really quite tragic. And then them coming here and them still not being able to make a difference, I think that was quite difficult. And I think it was a journey I'd been on for a while where I've actually really considered, do I want to be a nurse anymore? And that's been quite hard to face this year. But I think it's been a good one, because I think it's shown me that where my career has led me to, it's actually just allowing me to expand and grow further and use the knowledge that I've got over the years to be able to give from a different place, and to have that understanding and that awareness and that knowledge of what it's like to be in a caring role, whether that be professionally or personally. And that makes me, at the end of the day, a far better coach. And I think it makes me a better person. And that impacted my health. So the back end of this year, the last 3 months, I have to say, have been less easy. And I've had to take some big decisions as to, I can't do that amount of work. I need to focus on me. But it's given me really good time to really look at what I want and where I want to go and how I can really make a positive difference. And I think sometimes you have to kind of have a look at that. I've been too busy working in my business. I need to spend some time working on it. And that's what I'm doing. So yes, it's been difficult, but there are massive positives.
Oh, honestly, amazing. And adversity does make us stronger. You know, it helps us build and do more. And like you say, makes you better at what you do. And what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I'm sure that's a song of someone's. But so 2023, you are getting stronger. You know, you are looking forward to the future now. So what's next year bringing? What are you most excited for?
Super, super, super excited. So something I've started to do very recently, which I never thought I would do, and that's, I've had so many opportunities to write articles, write blogs. So Christmas, I've done a bit of a takeover for UK Care Week. So I've written 4 blog articles for them and their social media posts for Christmas week, which it's lovely. And I've got my very first speaking event, which for me is massive. And I'm speaking at UK Care Week in March. And I'm talking about how to thrive and survive in social care. So basically where, you know, people have worked in the sector and it's been really challenging on lots of levels. And then people have left. But actually, you know what? We can stay in the sector. We don't need to lose all of this stuff if we access the right support and we have the right resources around us and we learn the right skills. So I'm super excited. So lots of writing opportunities. I've got an article going out, I think, second week of January in Care Management Matters magazine, which is lovely. And that's about my journey with long COVID. Yeah, super excited. So lots of fun stuff. I think it's going to be a very different year for me, and a year where I am solely dedicating myself to my NLP work and my training. So I will be developing courses for businesses to help them train their staff how to sell bedrooms and, you know, sales and marketing skills, and using NLP for that. And then training businesses on how to use NLP to help the retention with their staff. So lots of super exciting stuff.
Looking forward to it. So, social care commentator Lucy Buxton, Here We Come 2023.
Oh,
So-
and there's a book at the end of next year. That's in my 12 months study. There's a book. So we'll see.
Fantastic.
I'll put it out there now. I've got to do it.
You got to do it now. Festive words of joy for people. What would you say?
Thank you. Just thank you. The sector has just been through such a difficult time, and there is so much negativity in the press. And it's really hard sometimes to just keep getting up and turning up and keep seeing things that are difficult and caring for people, and it's difficult. And thank you. And I would just say, keep being fabulously you.
Great words of advice there, Lucy. Short, to the point, but yes, no, thank you to everyone who's working in social care. Dudley, over to you. Good evening. For anybody who doesn't know you, did you want to do a quick introduction?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me today on this wonderful Christmas last edition of the year. So yeah, good to see everyone. So those who may not know me, I'm a care consultant working for People Care Services. One of my various hats that I wear, I also am working as a chair for registered managers across, I think, 14 London boroughs. I also am the co-chair for the Race Equality Reference Group for Skills for Care. I work with a technology company called CareVision as well, and probably also do lots in around equality, diversity, and inclusion in the sector as well, and really sort of showcasing that we all should be included in what we do as well. So yeah, that's one of a whistle-stop tour of sort of things that I do.
Few of your many hats. I'm a bit concerned, Dudley, when you take those glasses off, you're going to be blinkered around what you can actually see after the show. But what's been your highlights this year?
Well, I could say it was a takeover show of taking over your show. I think the first one, that was really one of the fantastic things that I'm really proud of. So yeah, one of those things. Another thing I was really proud of is actually the Care Show, where I had a wonderful platform as a keynote stage where we were able to put together Clinton, Fargas, who we were able to put together Phil Harper, should I say, Sonia Ray, who's usually very on the show as well. So it was a really, and Rishi Jawa. So all these people on stage together really showed the huge range of diversity and inclusion that we have in the sector. And to have it as a keynote was really wonderful. And I think it's something that we should utilize, of really being a sector which can showcase how diverse we are. And I know lots of sectors look at what they can do, but really we have a real way of really showing that we can do that. Everyone can be welcome to this sector and come in and be who they are. So we know that, especially with the amount of overseas staff that have come in. So that's also another thing that we shouldn't say, that welcome to all. You can start at the bottom and you can go anywhere. I'm sure many of us started off as carers and look where we are right now as well. So I think that's one of the things I would share for this year.
Absolutely, you're spot on. I think as a sector, we're probably one of the most diverse, and I don't think we shout about it enough and give ourselves, credit for actually the sector that we've become. What's not been so good for you this year?
There's a few things that have been not so good. I would turn around and say, we started out with this hope of having all the overseas workforce, and I think it was quite interesting at the beginning, and then you soon realise that nothing was sorted out by the Home Office. It really was a mess. people, it's like the Wild Wild West out there, and I think it really needs someone to really sort it out. We're bringing potentially good overseas workforce, but the scary thing is, they're getting thrown to sort of like these care companies. There's no checks in there with them. Who's really looking after it and looking the after and pastoral care as well. So that's one of the things I really think we can get right. If we're going to bring people in to help us, really, the training really is important. There should be standards. And so that was one of the things I think is a real issue. And that's where I think maybe the Minister for the State of Immigration really probably could really do something and listen to the likes of us and other providers of actually what they can do, rather than just bring them into the boat, off the boat, into our sort of care sort of facilities as well. So yeah, that would be one of the bugbears. Second bugbear would be, and I'm sure we all have it, is that I think we're all quite effective with what we do, but then when we have good ideas, apart from letting Mark disappear, we actually getting things to actually turn around, especially what the work I've been doing with larger organizations. The great ideas, you think it shouldn't take it should be really straightforward things to happen and manifest, but it takes quite a long time. And the larger the organization, it seems to take even longer for things to come and to happen. So that's the sort of the sad thing, I would say. So yeah, hopefully some of these organizations actually can listen to us and actually make things turn over a lot quicker than not. It's always this paperwork, red tape, and 6 months before actually, which we all know things can change straight away. They don't. So I don't know.
Or they make plans for 2023 and push them back to 2025. That's just what our government do. Yeah, I don't think Mark could wait any longer to break up for Christmas. He's gone. Mark is gone. He's that's it. 3 weeks off. I'm doing it. He's
I think he was jealous over the takeover that I did and did such a good job that I think he's
yeah, that's definitely it. So 2023, Dudley, what's coming your way?
Yeah, lots is happening in 2023. I don't know where to start apart from bringing Mark back into it. But I've got lots of things available that I'm doing. I've got research projects. I've got lots of things that I'm really affecting. The NHS project I've been doing has been really going really well to do around mental health and well-being, and that's been really good. And hopefully that gets shared, not just in London, but gets pushed out as well. So there's lots of people I'll be working with, and collaboration has been my word for the year of 2022. So I think the other side of it is actually just making things happen and just getting them done. All the talk is gone and just get on with it. So yeah, that's one of the things I'll definitely be looking forward to. Some good things, huge things, I'm hoping.
Brilliant. Mark, would you like to continue? Are you back now?
I am back, yes. And Dudley, Christmas words for staff working in social care.
It's difficult. There's so many things that you can do. And I think one of the projects I've been doing would be that I've been going into sort of care organizations and really speaking to them on a personal level. And one thing I found is that they felt left out and not been included. We know all the changes that have happened. So one of the good things has been actually, as Lucy mentioned, being able to go into these care organizations now and actually speak to them live in person. I think they've missed out on that and really felt that no one's really listened to them. So actually being listened to has been really one of the things I think is really important. So giving your staff an ear and actually listen to them is important. I think going forward, really, it's really to say that you may not be able to change a system, but you definitely can play your role or your part in actually correcting it. So I think a lot of the staff don't see the effect they're having, but if we all come together as a group, we can go farther together as opposed to alone. I think we shouldn't just look at the NHS and think that we're nobody. Fourth emergency service, we are actually more, the more of us are working in social care than they are in the NHS. So really we shouldn't forget that. And the more we speak up, the more we're likely to be heard.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, Dudley. I just want to, and a huge thank you for your words. I'm going to apologise. We are going to run over by about 10 minutes, and that's because this duck egg here forgot to hit record at the beginning of the show. We forgot to go live. So we are going to run over slightly. So please bear with us. It is our Christmas show. We will be done in a little while. I just want to come to you, Amanda, our last but not least guest. I think Lee sadly's had a few internet troubles. So, Amanda, how are you? Do you want to let everyone know who you are?
Hi, so I'm Amanda Griffiths and I am a nurse. I'm still a nurse. I work as a quality director for a large provider and I've been in the industry 40 years. It makes me feel like an old gimmer, but there you are, that's where it is. That's who I am. Still the same person.
And if you don't know, Amanda is a rising TikTok star. So go and give her a follow on TikTok. She's got some amazing videos that go on over there. So Amanda, 2023, what's been good for you? What's been your highlights?
Do you know, I think what has been amazing, just look at who's here and just look that all those amazing people working within our sector are still here. We could focus on the fact that we lose a lot and that attrition is high and we need staff, but we have to focus on the amazing people that are still here, that have learned the great coping skills and that are still out there doing a fantastic job. But I think underpinning that also has that been, and you know, culminating last week with the masks finally going, we've slowly, very slowly seen things unpeeling. I mean, I had some colleagues here earlier on in the day, and we were talking, and I said it is quite unbelievable that in 3 months' time, it will be 3 years since we first went into COVID. How can that even be? Because it feels like it's flown by, and it would be very easy to focus on all the negatives that we see in this industry. But the real positive for me is we have to look step by step, and they may only be small steps. But you know what? We are a mighty army who have been through an awful lot. We should never see ourselves as second best. I'm a nurse by trade, but my heart is in social care. And the NHS are all over the press at the moment with the strikes and everything else. But the amazing thing is we keep going, don't we? And I think that's what's heartened me more than anything. It feels at times you could take the perception that everything is sort of conspiring against us. And yet I still keep seeing, when I go out into our homes and services, when I go onto social media, when I go to events, the amazing people that have just kept showing up. That to me is just remarkable, because in many other industries, you wouldn't get that happen, would you? So that's a real positive for me, a real positive.
Honestly, that's amazing. And Social Care's all the better for having you, Amanda. All the better for having you. I've lost my train of thought. Oh, what's not gone so well?
So I think I've publicised it well. At the sort of mid-October, towards the end of October, I had like a health event. I had a stroke. Let's just call it what it is. I seem fully recovered. I'm doing well. But what that has done is it has uncovered a whole load of other health issues as a result of tests and everything that I'm dealing with, that I'm getting on with. And actually, I could be very bitter because there were plenty of missed opportunities within health where it's been missed, where I've been and presented myself or tried to present myself with a GP and it's been missed. So that's not been good for me. But I am going to tie that onto a real positive, because I've spent a long time doing all I can, and from a heart of really caring about people, promoting people to really take care of themselves and to really look after themselves and prioritise themselves. But actually, it's a real wake-up call that I need to do it as well, a really big wake-up call. And if anything, that's made me all the more determined, once I am back at full speed, to keep on banging that drum for people within this industry that, yes, go and do a really great job, but you can't work. And the lesson for me is I can't work 14, 16, 18-hour days and hope to keep going. We've got to prioritize ourselves. And I think, you know, we have to support each other. And I think that's something that many of us are guilty of. We get the bit between our teeth because we see there's a need with other people. And I'm going to be really honest, I'm sure there are other people sat here this evening. It is really important that you look after yourself as well. And I'm going to carry on. That's been a big motivation for me throughout the whole of the pandemic. And, you know, if you recall, I spent a year, I committed to every day I would post something encouraging for people within the industry. We've got to keep that going, because it's a bit like those historic stories about armies where when somebody's failing, their colleagues and the other foot soldiers will hold them up till they get over it. We have to do that for each other, because I agree with what Paul said earlier on. We've not seen the worst of this yet. So therefore, we have to look after ourselves and we have to hold each other up as well if we're going to get through this, for the sake of the people that are reliant on this industry to just lead a normal life.
I feel like tonight's a call to action more than anything. Everyone has just been so inspiring, and I completely agree, Amanda, I do. So with that and that sort of mindset, I thought you'd gone to TikTok to do another video. You're back with us.
Right.
So with that mindset, what are you looking forward to next year?
I think, do you know what? I've said it already once while I've been talking. I am an old gimmer. If there's something I've learned over the last couple of months, it is the fact that life is it's there and we have to live it. We shouldn't be seeking the high points all the time, because actually the high points of great happiness and everything else don't feed the soul. And I think big lesson for me over the last couple of months, I need to find a place where everything fits together and I'm not running in and doing everything and then having to sink back to catch my breath. I think my challenge for next year is to do all the things that really matter to me, with me in the middle of it. What we would say to any person we put with me in the middle of it, balance and give my very best for everything I need to do without burning myself out. And I think it's been a real pull up by the bootstraps for me, that actually we go full pelt at things and then we are at risk of falling over. Doesn't mean we will, but actually why take the risk of falling over? So a more balanced life, and maybe, just maybe, I could achieve even more. Yes, I'll set some goals. It's interesting, Lucy said about writing a book, because actually I've really been considering that. I haven't made a definite commitment. And the one thing I haven't done yet is buy Matt Hancock's book, because I heard so much about it on the news and I keep thinking I should buy that. But I'm really tempted, because many of you know I kept such a detailed timeline of COVID, and I'm really tempted to write a book and challenge a lot of the truths that he's proclaimed. I'm really tempted. So that may be a personal goal for me. We'll just wait and see how I feel and see if I'm up to it. But I think that would be quite a challenge. I think that would be quite interesting.
Now, you see, if we were in the middle of the pandemic still and everyone was going out panic buying, I'd probably go and buy his books. We don't have enough toilet paper. Do you remember? And I think his book would be a really great alternative. And I probably would go and buy it in that case. Probably be cheaper than toilet paper, and a better use for it. Words of wisdom then, Amanda, for anyone listening.
So I would say something that's really struck me is, don't keep living the same day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and call that a life. Make sure you get something different into your life. That's the most important thing, but maintain a balance. So don't keep doing the same thing, but don't do more at the risk, like I've already said, that you're going to fall over. Challenge yourself and live your life, because we only get one of them.
100%, absolutely, 100% agree with you. Well, Mark, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight. I do feel like we need to say a Merry Christmas to Carl, who's in our comments this evening with us. Carl does follow us quite fervently on social medias and on our journey, and it's been great to have him along the ride with us. Mark, quickly, what's been your highlights, lowlights, and what you're looking forward to next year?
I think very quickly, my highlights have got to be this year that I've got a much better work-life balance. I think anybody that's kind of followed me on social media over the last few years will know that my work-life balance has been non-existent. And I think it has got a lot better. It could still get a lot better. I think, a lot of people don't realise that behind the scenes of doing this, it's just Adam and I doing this alongside our day job in the evenings, at weekends, to make this show what it is. And I think doing things like this show, being able to use my voice on kind of the blogs that I do with the Health and Social Care Club is actually just, supporting people that work in the sector, outside of the sector, and just, being able to use my experiences for other people. I think one of my lowlifes for social care in general at the moment is just around the visiting policies in care homes that still hasn't been lifted. It's now going to be the third Christmas that so many residents aren't going to get to see their loved ones. I don't understand why government haven't, made a change, made sure that actually visiting is happening, when you think that all of us, I've made the most of kind of live music this year. All of us are out and about doing whatever, and people living in care homes don't have those kind of same opportunities. I think a message for me, for anybody, is for people working in social care, whether paid or unpaid, thank you very much. I think we've stuck it out. We've done another year of wearing that PPE, putting it on. Good news, obviously, this week that actually we can take it off. But actually, you've turned up and you've made a difference to people, and that's what it's all about. So thank you very much. Adam, what's been your highlights, lowlights, and a message?
So I'm not going to lie, my highlight this year, and I fully support social care, my highlight this year has been not being a registered manager. And I'm going to be completely honest. I have to be honest about it. I've been a manager for years and years and years, and I gave a lot of time to it and a lot of stuff during the pandemic, and got this great opportunity to take on a role at the Institute. And I've been able to explore my family again. Been able to spend time with people, and that's not because being a registered manager takes up that time. It's because I managed my time poorly whilst I was a registered manager, and I'd lost track of what actually mattered. And it was important for me to be able to have that time. My nana passed away this year. We lost another close family friend this year. And it's been important to be able to start spending time with people again. And I've sort of refocused on what it means to be a person, what it means to be alive. And I admire everyone who's continuing on in social care and who can do it. I took the easy road out potentially. But I'm just so eternally grateful to be able to have had that last sort of time with my nan and enjoy that time. I lost the time I had with my dad because I was just overly committed. But yeah, there's been loads of highlights. House of Lords launching the People Plan with people like Paul, and the amazing work we put into that, and the Social Care Top 30, getting together with everyone at the trade shows. It's been wonderful. I've got my life on track. I'm buying a house. That was a low light, finding out that we had to move, but the highlight is I'm getting a house, which is amazing. So there's been a lot that's been going on, but I'm just grateful to be here. I'm just thankful that I'm here still, waking up every single morning and enjoying life what it is, and still supporting social care and doing this with you, Mark. At the beginning of this year, there was a moment where we thought, should we continue with this? Should we go on? I don't know. And I don't think we've looked back since. And it's been an incredible journey, and I'm really looking forward to season 3. So that's for me next year. Amongst everything else, season 3 of this is going to be incredible. We've got our website now. If you aren't aware, we have got our podcast, which is going out. Episode 4 of How to Complete Your PIR podcast goes out tomorrow. All of our free resources are available on our website. Again, the Advent calendar, if you follow us on social media, is giving out free resources throughout December up until Christmas. And we have our blog, and we do it all in our own time. And I'm not saying this for a pat on the back. I'm just saying to you, this is what I'm really proud of, and I'm really looking forward to next year with yourself and what we're going to be able to do moving forward. So, and just Merry Christmas, everyone. And, whatever your religion, whether you celebrate Christmas, and I think next year, talking about Christmas wishes and words of joy, I think we need to be more socially aware of all the other holidays, and I think we need to be making sure that actually we make a song and dance about them all, because Diwali is an absolutely glorious holiday, and the ceremonies and the clothes and the tradition, and it's stunning. I mean, it just does not get the same look in. So I think next year we need to be able to say, actually, what's your messages over Ramadan and Eid and everything else that matters to people. I know we don't really have Kwanzaa in this country, but it's, there's all these sorts of fabulous holidays in this cultured country that we live in, because that's our strength, is the fact that we are a cultured, diverse country. I just want to say, celebrate it, celebrate diversity. And if people aren't going to celebrate with you, bugger them. We've had today, well, was it today? Was it yesterday? Jeremy Clarkson's god-awful piece in The Sun. One absolute horrid man. And these bloody old white men are allowing these things to get published, and no one bats an eyelid. And yet we've got a white man in a newspaper saying that a black woman needs to be paraded through the streets naked with excrement being thrown at her. Ignore those people. Don't give them the time of day. Just love. Just go out and love.
Great advice there. No, I definitely agree.
I think you're going to leave me hanging there, Mark.
I couldn't find my mute button. Unfortunately, Lee was with us at the beginning of the show. He, a bit like me, halfway through, lost internet, but wasn't able to get back. He's just asked me to just let everybody know about his new podcast, which airs in 2023. It's going to be called Care to Talk. It's going to have weekly episodes. And each episode is going to home in on topics that anybody working in social care, people outside of social care, can take away. They're going to cover strategies and systems that can help build better resilience, togetherness, and openness. They're going to face these issues with warmth, experience, and positivity. Care to Talk is like a well-needed catch-up with trusted friends where the world can be set to rights. So make sure you keep an eye out on that. Connect with Lee on LinkedIn, because him and Mark Caulfield are doing that together, and I think it's going to be a really good podcast series for mental health.
Wonderful. I'm sure we'll share the links to it as well. So one last time, Merry Christmas, everybody. My other half has made a pork roast this evening, and apparently the cracklings worked, so I can't wait to get diving into that. And just enjoy yourselves. Thank you so much for making the Caring View what it's been. I know Mark and I come here every single Tuesday, but we'd be nothing without everybody in social care. And it's just great to have such a variety of people join us. So absolutely wonderful to have you join us. We aren't going to be live now until 17th of January, I think it is, but we do have our content going out. So make sure you subscribe and follow us. Until then, be good. There's still time to go on that naughty list, so please be good. Jeremy Clarkson's getting most of the coal this year, but there's probably still plenty to go around. So make sure you're good and enjoy this festive season. Take care, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.